informed me that the top-ranked bidder is Lockheed Martin.
The review of the F-35 acquisition project continues. It is one that is going to take the time it's going to take. We're going to get this right.
A Russian bomber probes Canadian airspace at minus 40 degrees Celsius. Which fighter do you scramble? The cutting-edge F-35 stealth fighter? Or the Swedish Gripen designed to operate from frozen highways? The answer might surprise you. When it comes to Canada's Arctic, the best fighter on paper isn't always the best fighter in practice. Canada owns 40% of the Arctic, comprising over 3.5 million square kilometers of frozen territory and archipelago. This isn't just ice and polar bears, it's increasingly contested airspace where Russian strategic bombers regularly test Canadian defenses, and Chinese research vessels map shipping routes through the Northwest Passage. As Arctic ice melts, this region becomes the next great geopolitical battleground. The Royal Canadian Air Force conducts Operation Noble Eagle patrols monitoring this vast frontier. Current CF-18 Hornets fly interception missions against Russian Tu-95 Bears and Tu-160 Blackjacks that probe the perimeter of Canadian airspace dozens of times annually. These aren't combat missions, they're sovereignty demonstrations. Canadian fighters need to identify, shadow, and escort intruders out of controlled airspace. Here's the operational reality. Arctic missions mean operating in temperatures dropping to minus 50 degrees Celsius, from remote forward operating locations with minimal infrastructure, sometimes in complete darkness for months. Aircraft sit on frozen ramps exposed to brutal wind chill. Maintenance crews work in conditions that freeze hydraulic fluid and crack unprotected components. The question isn't which fighter has the best specifications, it's which fighter can actually operate reliably in the most hostile environment on Earth while maintaining continuous presence over millions of square kilometers. The F-35 stealth technology becomes a significant liability in extreme Arctic conditions. That radar-absorbent coating covering the entire aircraft, it's environmentally sensitive and degrades rapidly in temperature extremes. Exposure to minus 40 degrees without climate-controlled shelter damages the coating, requiring extensive reapplication, a process taking days and costing hundreds of thousands of dollars per aircraft. This means F-35s operating in the Arctic need heated hangars at every forward location. Canada's remote Arctic bases, places like Inuvik, Yellowknife, and Iqaluit, would require massive infrastructure investments building specialized facilities just to protect the stealth coating. We're talking hundreds of millions in construction costs. The Gripen was literally designed for Arctic warfare. Sweden faces similar extreme cold conditions and built the Gripen to operate from dispersed highway bases without specialized infrastructure. It can sit on frozen ramps, start in extreme cold, and fly missions without degradation. Norwegian evaluations showed Gripens operating flawlessly in minus 35-degree conditions with minimal preparation. Engine reliability matters critically here. The F-35 single Pratt & Whitney F135 engine is enormously complex with intricate thermal management systems that struggle in extreme cold. The Gripen's GEF414 engine, also a single engine, is simpler, more robust, and has proven cold weather reliability across multiple operators in northern climates. Canada's Arctic isn't just big, it's incomprehensibly vast. From Alert, Canada's northernmost settlement, to potential interception points over the Beaufort Sea spans over 2,000 kilometers. Fighters need range, endurance, and efficiency to maintain effective coverage. The F-35A has a combat radius around 1,200 kilometers on internal fuel without external tanks, which it avoids carrying because they compromise stealth. For Arctic patrol missions requiring hours of loiter time, F-35s need aerial refueling constantly. Canada operates just a handful of CC-150 Polaris tankers, creating a logistics nightmare coordinating refueling for Arctic patrols. The Gripen E, despite being smaller, achieves remarkable fuel efficiency. Its combat radius exceeds 1,300 kilometers, and its efficient single-engine design allows extended loiter times. Swedish Air Force data shows Gripens maintaining 4-plus-hour patrols, critical for Arctic sovereignty missions where you're not engaging targets but maintaining presence. Quick reaction alert response time matters enormously. When Russian bombers appear on radar, fighters need to scramble immediately from cold readiness. The Gripen can cold start and launch in minutes with minimal ground crew. The F-35 requires extensive pre-flight checks, system diagnostics through ALES/ODIN, and more maintenance personnel, potentially adding critical minutes to response time. For covering the Canadian Arctic archipelago with standing patrols, efficient endurance beats raw speed every time. Here's the uncomfortable truth about Arctic defense. Stealth capability is largely irrelevant for Canada's actual missions. Canadian fighters aren't penetrating advanced integrated air defense systems or conducting strike missions against peer adversaries. They're intercepting and escorting Russian strategic bombers in international and Canadian airspace. Russian Tu-95 Bears and Tu-160 Blackjacks aren't stealth aircraft. They're massive, lumbering bombers designed for nuclear strike missions. Intercepting them doesn't require stealth. It requires reliable sensors, decent speed, and professional airmanship. The Gripen's AESA radar and modern electronic warfare systems are completely adequate for detecting, tracking, and intercepting strategic bombers. Canadian rules of engagement require visual identification before any intervention. Pilots must see the aircraft, make visual contact with the crew, and communicate intentions. You can't visually identify anything from beyond visual range. Stealth or not, you're closing to within a few hundred meters. The F-35's advanced sensor fusion and data linking capabilities are impressive, but they're designed for complex multi-domain battlefields, not Arctic sovereignty patrols. It's like buying a Formula One race car for your daily commute, technically superior, but practically excessive. The Gripen provides everything needed for Arctic interception missions at a fraction of the complexity and cost. Sometimes adequate capability deployed reliably beats superior capability deployed occasionally. Operational availability is where this debate gets decisive. Arctic defense isn't about winning dogfights. It's about maintaining continuous presence over Canadian territory year-round. You need aircraft actually flying, not sitting in maintenance. F-35 fleet availability hovers around 50 to 60% globally. For Canada's planned 88 F-35s, that means maybe 50 aircraft operationally available at any time. Factor in training requirements, scheduled maintenance, and aircraft deployed overseas for NATO commitments, and you might have 30 to 35 F-35s available for Canadian missions, including Arctic patrols. Gripen operators consistently report 70 to 80% availability rates. 88 Gripens would give Canada roughly 65 to 70 aircraft ready for operations, nearly double the F-35 availability. For Arctic coverage, this is transformational. Strategic math matters. Canada needs standing quick reaction alert fighters at multiple Arctic bases simultaneously. Baggetville, Cold Lake, Comox, plus forward deployments to Yellowknife, Inuvik, and Iqaluit. Each location requires minimum 4 aircraft for continuous coverage. That's 24 aircraft just for geographic positioning, before accounting for maintenance rotations. With double the operational availability and significantly lower costs per flight hour, Gripen fleets can maintain Arctic presence the F-35 simply cannot match. Sovereignty isn't defended by the most advanced fighter. It's defended by the fighter that's actually there when needed. For Canada's Arctic, the Gripen isn't just competitive with the F-35, it's arguably superior for the actual missions required. When defending sovereignty means presence over capability, reliability over sophistication, the Swedish fighter designed for frozen highways wins decisively. Sometimes simpler is smarter. Which fighter would you choose for Arctic defense? Stealth and sophistication, or reliability and availability? Drop your verdict in the comments. Like and subscribe for more military analysis that challenges conventional thinking.